So our first keynote session is all about AI strategy with Mara Pometti, who's the Associate Director of AI Strategy at McKinsey. Good morning, Mara. Thanks for joining us. We'll give you the honour of opening the show.
Thank you very much, Marcus. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. So I'm ready to kick this off.
Thanks for joining us, Mara.
Absolutely. So hello, everyone, again. Mara Pometti, Associate Director for McKinsey Digital Analytics, based at the London office. And I'm really thrilled today to be with you, especially because in this wonderful event about technology and innovation, we have the chance to go deeper with our thinking on what and how especially AI is transforming our lives and especially our processes and daily work in the organizations that we're part of. So I'm really thrilled to walk you through these concepts and especially how can we humanize AI through strategy, which is the topic of today, my keynote today. But I want to talk to you about AI today from a slightly different perspective and angle, starting from what is my personal story. And I want to share this with you, the story of my personal journey, because I believe that it exemplifies a lot of what I'm trying to do in an effort to humanize AI through strategy. In fact, by training, I am a data journalist, meaning that I've been always used data and code to uncover untold stories and then visualize those stories with beautiful data visualizations to make data more accessible to people by getting rid of its complexity, or at least transforming the data's complexity in ways, in means, visual means that could allow people, even not the experts in data, could allow them to grasp the data's information and what it means. And by doing that, over the years, I've been merging different skills in data journalism, data storytelling, strategy, data visualization design, until when, in my previous company, I joined a team of data scientists whose mainly job work was to create AI solutions to solve enterprises' problems. And at that point, I found myself shaping all the skills that I was using into the role of an AI strategist. And as AI strategist, what I do is fundamentally helping organizations apply AI where it matters to people. That's very simple, actually. And I use design, meaning human-centered frameworks and methods to really use humans' needs as a lens through which uncover new business opportunities and then frame those opportunities into a portfolio of AI initiatives that is tightly connected to the organization's business strategies and problems. So this is what I do, and in parallel, while building the AI strategy centered on human needs, I help organizations also to develop the foundations of what is their new AI governance program, which today, especially with all the challenges that we are facing with large language models, is the key enabler to really support and scale AI across organizations. And once the strategy is done, I work with data scientists and SMEs to visualize the outcome of these strategies by transforming technical KPIs and the data that models generate into stories, visual stories, so to make accessible the impact that AI has on both the people and organizations, also to business stakeholders, also to people that are not AI experts, but want to understand what's the real value generated by AI models. In fact, by working over the years with many and different experts like data scientists, data engineers, but also many executives responsible of AI, data, governance in organizations, over the years, I realized that organizations, especially today more than ever, need data journalists. And by that, I don't mean data journalists, meaning experts that can create data visualization and beautiful data stories to understand the data. But with that, I mean people, experts that can really understand the data to open up models to inspection and really create a layer of explainability and transparency, because they have the means and the knowledge to challenge algorithms, challenge their outcomes, and really having a check on algorithms in a way that and understanding if they are aligned to people's values and organizations' objectives. I always say, and that's a message also that I included in my recent book, Artificial Humans, that AI is changing the perceptions of how we interact with the world through the products and services in which AI is embedded. And the business, the organizations that are deploying AI in these products and services and solutions are responsible today for how humans interact with AI. And they are like our medium to create a better relationship and interactions with between humans and AI systems. And for these reasons, the business, the organizations play a key role today, and in how we can create and embed actually a better human-centered approach into the AI practices by building a new generations of experts that in my book I named data savvy humanists, that are, as I said before, these experts that will use data to back up hypotheses and challenge algorithms' assumptions. They will be the one to keep algorithms in check, because we'll have the strong technical knowledge of how AI systems are built, how they work, but also that journalistic instinct to really pose the right questions, formulate the right hypotheses, to always keep alignment between humans' intents, organizations' intents, and the AI outcomes. AI today is eroding trust. It interferes with our ability to make fair decisions. It insinuates the doubt in the content that we consume. Was this text written by a human or a ChatGPT? Was this image produced by an LLM or by an artist? So it's really about how we can create a framework for us to put again the humans at the center of the AI solutions that we are deploying, and asking ourselves why we're using that. And that's why the human-centered discipline and concept it's key. And by human-centered AI, human-centered AI is a relatively new discipline that started around 2017 that aims at extending the method of design and user experience to create services and products and solutions that augment people's capabilities and knowledge. But I've always found this definition very narrow, because when we go to analyze the interactions between AI systems and humans, we really start from a broader level. We don't talk about user experience yet because we are not facing problems with real users yet. We first explore humans from an holistic perspective, from all the dimensions that make up human beings, meaning the thinking, the feelings, and the actions, not just how they interact with a product as users, but we want to explore people broadly. And because I found this definition very narrow, at some point I went back to my roots because by training, I'm a classicist, and I posed myself the question of what really the verb humanizing, from which we have exactly human-centered AI, humanizing AI, all these expressions really came from. And I came back to the word that is at the origin of this meaning, which is the Latin word humanitas. That is very broad in its meaning, but essentially can be reduced to one important concept, which is the respect for the human being. And by doing that, the Humanitas focuses on three main principles that are the truth, the justice, and beauty. And I found on these three principles my own framework to deploy a human-centered AI in my daily job in a business context by centering AI strategies on human needs, by creating common languages and means through which both business stakeholders and technical stakeholders can communicate and share perspectives on the same AI problems, and by visualizing, making accessible and transparent these models to really open them up to inspection. Let's start from the truth, though. Especially today, if we don't want models to hallucinate, if we don't want them to spread disinformation, we have to rely on truthful, trustworthy models. And to do that, we have a very powerful means, meaning creating specific benchmarks, metrics that can give us a way to keep monitoring models after the deployment to see if they still are aligned to our initial users, stakeholders, and customers' expectations without creating any risks or harm for people. And in fact, we are used to think of models, especially in machine learning, with very traditional metrics like the F1, the recall, the precision, model quality. But these metrics give us just a very narrow and limited view on the overall problems that models are supposed to solve and on their own story. We need to capture the complete stories of models, especially after the deployment, by creating custom metrics that can help us understanding where we are with the outcome that models generate, especially now that we're going to deploy large language models into the across organizations. And so it's by creating specific metrics, by using available benchmarking guidelines and principles that we can keep models in check and detect in advance models failures and understand how to address them. And to do that, it's not an easy task. It requires really a good dose of business specificity and knowledge and understanding of the different failures mode, or at least hypotheses of the possible models failures. And to really guide organizations and multidisciplinary teams of stakeholders across this process, and coming to the definition of few metrics that can serve as guardrails, I've been over the years developing a systematic framework by using design thinking techniques to really have a common language, as I mentioned earlier, through which different stakeholders that have different expertise in the organization can come up together to really reflect together upon how to develop the AI strategy and how to keep models in check, how to translate basically their principles and business objectives into a coherent system that is grounded on human needs, that looks at humans to prevent risks and possible misbehaving effects of algorithms, and always delivers the expected value that organizations want to achieve. And this brings me to another important problem, which is the value. Oftentimes, executives and leaders complain that they don't see the expected value from the deployment of their AI solutions and systems. And this happens because mostly organizations rush into the development of proof of concepts and MVP without understanding who they are trying to create value for, what problem they are trying to solve. And so they build solutions that are very shiny objects, but eventually do not deliver any value to the organization because they don't solve problems. AI can deliver ROI only if it's applied where it matters to people, meaning where it solves real problems that real people have. And that's why it's important to ground the strategy into the users, customers, stakeholders' needs from the very beginning. And that is the trigger that also enables the understanding of how to build the guardrails, safeguards around models, and what metrics to create that are tailored to your business regulations, financial regulations, or regulations, AI regulations that are coming, and especially the internal compliance and risk strategy. And in fact, grounding everything on a human-centered approach also ensures that models are kept fair and through exactly by being driven by justice. We know that there are many efforts today run by different governments and institutions that are trying to regulate AI systems. This is happening in the EU, China, in the US. There are also many non-profits and other organizations that are trying to understand, especially exactly now that we have been deploying large language models, how can we regulate AI? And this is a difficult balance to find. But this is important because eventually everything comes back to the business and what are the principles and the standards that we apply in our daily job when we use AI. And the challenge today for business is really, okay, we have these frameworks, we have these guidelines, we have principles, but how do we operationalize that? How do we execute that? I really love on this point this quote from Gartner that really says that we have to convert responsible AI rhetoric into solid AI design principles to really get to that shift that we need in organization from a technology-centric to a human-centric solutions mindset. And that's why it's important to deploy that, to start that execution through design methods. And again, with design, I mean a human-centered problem-solving approach. Grounding all that we do into the needs of humans to really enable this shift from a tech mindset to a human-centered mindset that can help us in creating executional models that can initiate the translation of principles, guidelines, and regulations into what our solutions, AI solutions, really do. And once this strategy is set up, and once the models design is up for starting the implementation, it's important to combine these with explanations for everyone, not just for experts. And here is, beauty is key, because it's proven by many cognitive studies that aesthetics really can help in understanding complex informations. And this is where I always used in my career visualizations and information design to really make AI accessible and understandable by many people, not just experts, because my big challenge, it's always been working with data scientists in AI teams, but these teams eventually had to explain the impact of their work and how AI system worked to people that were not AI savvy, that were business savvy. And so by really anchor again everything in the stakeholders' needs, in this case, in their needs to understand, beauty can be a perfect mean to do that. And it's an effort that I've been also I've always pursued also in my previous career, in my previous company, where I finally launched the first certified data storytelling program with more than 3,000 people that subscribe to that program to really get data and AI to people that were not data scientists, that were not working in data analytics teams, but that they wanted to understand the data and AI and how to use them for different purposes, like in marketing, in communication, for HR. And by offering them a different angle from which to approach the complexity of data and AI through storytelling and data literacy, I was able to really spread information and democratizing the use of AI techniques for people that were not part of my same background. And this effort is important because I believe that more and more today we need really leaders in organizations that can humanize AI, meaning that they can support the AI development with human-centered AI practices. And that's important because models are great, are super powerful. Everyone knows today how fantastic, especially LLMs, can be, and how much they can empower us as humans, not just harm us. I'm not just a negative supporter, right? I see also the positive things that AI can do for us as human beings. But models are great in generalizing, in making us understand the complexity of the world or create a new content by generalizing what is their knowledge. But the truth is that us as human beings, we are completely different. We have our own idiosyncrasies, our own peculiarities, and we can't be generalized in a bucket. And so our effort, more and more, the effort of every expert working in AI should be to start infusing in the rigid and binary thinking of algorithms that reason between 0 and 1, the polyhedric human nature, to really preserve our own nuances and differences. And we can do that by always challenging the AI's outcome through discernment. Discernment, to me, will be the compass for us to really preserve our human dignity and free will in this new AI era. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic, Mara. Thank you very much for coming on and opening stage 2 for us. We're a bit tight on time, so I just have one question for you fairly quickly. And what for you, when it comes to building AI strategies, what are some of the main challenges associated with developing and implementing an AI strategy? And how for you can organizations overcome these challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. The main challenge is really tying back the AI development and then following the deployment to clear KPIs and business metrics that can capture the company's strategic objectives, so that we can always, as I said before, keep on track in what is the value generated by the models, and what to refine those models in case the value expected is not achieved. So customize those metrics, defining what are the KPIs that we're trying to hit with AI. It's always the biggest challenge because KPIs usually derive from the problems that we're trying to solve, the business challenges that are rooted in humans' problems, issues, as I said before, right? So that link from humans, business objectives, and metrics, it's very difficult to capture and really shape sharply and understand. And then that returns in the challenge of not being able to always define the right KPIs that a company wants to achieve with AI.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Mara. It's been a pleasure speaking to you this morning. So thank you for your time.
Working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.